Have you ever felt like life keeps throwing storms and you're not sure how much more you can take? You try to stay strong, hold it together, but then one message, one phone call, one look, and suddenly everything inside starts to shake. I've been there too, not just once, but in seasons when life felt more like survival than progress. When you show up at work, but your mind is elsewhere. When you smile in conversations, but your heart is exhausted. When you go through the motions because you don't know what else to do. Jim Rohn once said, "Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better." At first, that sounds harsh, but the more you sit with it, the more freeing it becomes. Because it means you don't have to control the storm, you just need to anchor deeper within yourself. Mental resilience isn't about pretending you're fine, it's about returning to what matters. Even when everything around you feels unstable. It's not about suppressing emotions, it's about responding instead of reacting. And that's what this talk is about. Not how to avoid life's chaos, but how to face it with clarity, with calm, with strength that doesn't shout, but stands. Because real resilience is quiet. It's built in private moments when no one's watching. When you choose not to give in, not to spiral, not to numb. So today we're going to talk about what Jim Rohn taught me, about how to build a mind that bends, but doesn't break. A mind that knows, I can't control the wind, but I can adjust my sails. If you're tired, if you've been through storms that no one knows about, if you've been showing up even when your soul wants to sleep, then this message is for you. Let's begin the journey, not to fix the storm outside, but to strengthen the shelter within. Let's begin. Let's talk about the moment when everything shifts. You wake up expecting a normal day. Then, life hits. A rejection you didn't see coming. A diagnosis you weren't ready for. A phone call that ends in silence. Suddenly, the ground beneath you isn't solid anymore. The plans you made, they vanish. The strength you thought you had, it feels out of reach. That's the moment most people discover. Resilience is not a mindset you read in a book. It's a response you build in the storm. So let's go deeper. What actually happens inside us when life doesn't go as planned? There are usually 3 reflexes we fall into, and each one quietly erodes our inner strength. Let's name them. Let's bring light to the default responses that keep us stuck. 1. Self-blame, the silent crusher. When things fall apart, what's your first thought? Maybe it's me. We internalize the chaos. We question our worth. We think, if I had been stronger, smarter, faster, this wouldn't have happened. But here's the truth. Self-blame is not the same as self-awareness. One leads to change, the other leads to shame. Jim Rohn taught, you must take personal responsibility, but you never have to carry personal shame. Resilience isn't about blaming yourself for the storm. It's about asking, what can I build from here? 2. External blame, the great deflection. Some of us swing the other way. We blame others. We blame the economy, the weather, our parents, the world. And look, it's tempting. Blame feels better than responsibility. It gives us a villain. It gives us distance, but it also steals our agency. Because if they are the reason, then they are the solution. And you're stuck, waiting for the world to change. Jim said, you cannot change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wind, but you can change yourself. Mental resilience is born when we shift from who's to blame to what's my move. Emotional numbness, the quiet escape. Here's the one no one talks about. We don't blame ourselves, we don't blame others, we just shut down. We scroll, we binge, we numb, because feeling the pain, too much, so we feel nothing. But numbness isn't peace, it's a delay, a pause button on pain that also pauses growth. Jim Rohn taught, you don't have to be fearless, you just have to be present. And that means staying awake, even when it hurts. It means allowing the wave of emotion to come so it can pass. So where does all this lead us? Resilience doesn't mean nothing touches you. It means everything that touches you gets processed. It means you feel without losing your footing. You break, but you rebuild stronger. Because you don't grow stronger despite the storm. You grow stronger through it. And here's the turning point. Mental resilience starts the moment you stop resisting the storm and start learning from it. It begins the moment you ask, what is this moment trying to teach me? It grows when you realize this feeling won't last, but what I choose now will. Jim said, the same wind blows on us all. It's the set of the sail that determines where we go. So let me ask you, how are your sails set today? Are you drifting or are you adjusting? Are you reacting or are you choosing? Storms are not optional, but strength, that's a decision. Let's keep going. Let's learn how to build that strength, one practice at a time. Let's move into the next section, the philosophies Jim Rohn shared that transformed fear into focus and adversity into alignment. We've looked at how storms shake us, we've seen the patterns that weaken our resolve. Now it's time to build, to shift from reaction to philosophy. Because Jim Rohn didn't just give motivational quotes, he gave frameworks, simple, powerful, repeatable. And when it comes to resilience, he taught that it doesn't begin in muscle, it begins in the mind. Let's explore 3 core philosophies from Jim Rohn that help me build mental resilience, not just in moments of crisis, but in the quiet tension of everyday life. Trit li nyat tuk, direction over destination. Quote, you cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. Let that land. You can't fix everything today, but you can choose differently today. Most people crumble under pressure because they focus on the gap between where they are and where they want to be. But Jim reminds us, the real power is not in the leap, it's in the pivot. Resilience doesn't require a full transformation overnight. It requires the courage to make a 1-degree shift. A shift in thought, a shift in tone, a shift in how you talk to yourself. Example, you don't have to go from burnout to breakthrough overnight. You can go from I'm failing to I'm learning, from I'm overwhelmed to what's one small win today. That's direction. And over time, direction becomes destiny. This is how you reclaim control in the middle of the chaos, by choosing where to aim, not where to land. So today, ask yourself, is my direction aligned with the kind of life I want to build? Because direction is a decision you make every single morning. 2. Tritli ki lut, daily discipline is the bridge. Quote, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Let's be real. When life gets messy, we crave inspiration, but what we need is structure. And structure comes from daily discipline. Jim Rohn called discipline the bridge, a quiet path between vision and reality. And that bridge, it's not built in big moments, it's built in boring ones. Waking up early, even when you don't want to. Writing 1 page, even when you don't feel creative. Drinking water instead of escaping into sugar or screens. Discipline isn't punishment, it's the rhythm of someone who respects their future. And it builds something incredible, stability. Because when the world is unpredictable, your discipline becomes your sanctuary. Jim said, it's not what you do once in a while that makes the difference, it's what you do consistently. So what's one discipline, one tiny practice you can commit to? Start small. Start now. Because every day you show up for that habit, you become a little stronger. That's how bridges are built. That's how you cross into resilience. 3. Chitli tu nyatuk, identity is the soil of strength. Quote, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Here's a truth that hurts before it heals. You can't outperform your identity. You can set ambitious goals, make detailed plans, buy all the tools, but if deep down you see yourself as weak, as someone who always quits, as someone who doesn't have what it takes, you'll find ways to sabotage. Because your brain wants to stay congruent with your beliefs, even if those beliefs are outdated. Jim Rohn taught that philosophy shapes identity, and identity shapes action. So if you want to build resilience, you have to build a better story about who you are. You do that through repetition, through rewriting the narrative. You say things like, I'm not fragile, I'm growing. I don't quit, I pause, then continue. I'm the kind of person who shows up, especially when it's hard. That's identity work. That's rewiring. And you don't need to believe it fully, yet. You just need to say it often enough for your brain to catch up. Jim said, don't just let life happen to you. Make life happen for you. And the first place life begins is how you talk to yourself. Tongket, Trit Li The Kang, Sukmai. Mental resilience isn't about being tough, it's about being true. True to your direction, true to your disciplines, true to your identity. And when the storm comes, because it will, you don't have to panic. You return to what you've practiced, to what you believe. That's the Jim Rohn way. Not flashy, not frantic, but grounded and clear. So now, let's put these philosophies into action. Let's move to the next part. 3 simple things you can do today to build real resilience. Because philosophy without practice is just decoration. Let's turn your mindset into motion. Let's begin. We've explored the storm, we've studied the philosophy, we've taken it apart piece by piece, and now it's time to bring it home. Bring it down from theory into life. Because all the insight in the world means nothing if it never becomes practice. Mental resilience isn't just a mindset, it's a muscle. And muscles don't grow by thinking, they grow by doing. So here are 3 small practices you can start today. No fancy tools, no perfect schedule, just your willingness to pause, reflect, and begin. And remember, small doesn't mean insignificant. It means sustainable. It means repeatable. It means real. 1. The nightly 3-line reflection. Every night before bed, write 3 simple lines. It takes less than 5 minutes, but it can rewire how you face tomorrow. And more importantly, it reminds you you are growing. Line 1, what challenge did I overcome today? Line 2, what emotion did I sit with instead of escape? Line 3, how do I want to respond if this happens again? That's it. No long journaling, no pressure to be poetic, just presence, just honesty. Why does this work? Because it trains you to pause, to process, to see yourself not just as a survivor, but as someone learning how to lead themselves. This exercise turns reflection into momentum. It takes the raw data of your day and transforms it into direction. Jim Rohn said, don't let a day slip by without extracting wisdom from it. This is how you extract wisdom, 3 lines at a time. Not later, not someday, but tonight. 2. The resilience reminder quote. Choose a sentence, a line of power, of truth, of identity. Something that speaks to who you are becoming, not just what you're escaping. This isn't decoration, it's declaration. Examples, storms test me, but I bend, not break. Today I choose grounded over reactive. I am not my fear, I am my response. I show up even when it's hard. Now write it. Not just once, write it daily if needed. Place it where you'll see it every day. Bathroom mirror, phone lock screen, wallet, desk, even on your water bottle. This becomes your anchor, your pattern interrupt, your reset button. Why? Because when stress hits, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And a visible quote, that's a system. That's a soft landing when your mind spins. That's a whisper to your future self saying, stay steady, you've got this. Jim said, words do 2 major things. They provide food for the mind and create light for understanding. So feed your mind something real and place it where you'll see it before you need it, every single day. The morning mental reset. 30 seconds of centering. Start your day, before coffee, before email, before noise, with this, with presence, with clarity, with you. Sit, close your eyes, inhale slowly, hold, exhale longer than you inhale, repeat, just 3 times. Now, ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? Not what you want to achieve, not what you want to fix, but who you want to be. Then name 1 word, calm, focused, compassionate, disciplined, courageous. This is not a wish. This is your identity, spoken into the day before the world gets loud. And when the world does get loud, this moment becomes your echo, your true north. Jim Rohn said, "Everything begins with thought. Make sure yours are intentional." So begin with intention. 30 seconds is all it takes. 3 breaths, 1 word, a morning made different by design. 통ket 행동nhỏ, su thay đổi lớn. Let's review. Night, 3-line reflection. Daytime visible reminder quote. Morning, 30-second mental reset. That's not hard. That's not perfection. That's resilience in action. You don't need to change your whole life in a week. You just need to change how you meet each day. These aren't practices for the perfect version of you. They're tools for the real you. The one who feels, the one who struggles, the one who keeps showing up. Start small, stay steady, speak softly to yourself, and trust that who you're becoming is already strong. Let's keep going. Let's end with one final piece, a call to interaction, one sentence that could change everything. Let's begin. Let's take a breath together, a real one. Inhale through the nose, hold for a moment, exhale slowly. You've just walked through a journey that started with a question. What does it really mean to be resilient? And here's the answer we've uncovered. Resilience isn't about force or speed or perfection. It's about being rooted in who you are and who you're becoming. Let's recap for a moment. You've learned how storms test you. You've seen how Jim Rohn reframed mental strength. Not as avoidance, but alignment. Not as suppression, but self-awareness. You've been invited to reflect each night, to name your truth each morning, to interrupt patterns with presence and purpose. But all of this knowledge, all of this inspiration, means nothing until it becomes yours. So let me ask you, what's one truth from this entire talk that spoke to you, that stirred something, that made you whisper, "Yes, that's me"? Maybe it was, "I don't rise to my goals, I fall to my systems." Or "I'm not stuck, I'm just repeating." Or "I can't control the storm, but I can adjust my sails." Whatever it was, hold it, breathe it in again, because that's the doorway, not to more learning, but to living it. So here's your invitation. Let's make this moment matter. Let's turn it into a shift. Not loud, not public, but personal, private, profound. Repeat after me, softly, gently, like a promise whispered to the part of you that almost gave up. I am not stuck. I am choosing my direction. I am becoming stronger, one choice at a time. Again, I am not stuck. I am choosing my direction. I am becoming stronger, one choice at a time. Now take a moment. Let that truth settle. Let it land not just in your ears, but in your chest, in your breath, in your bones. Jim Rohn once said, "You cannot make progress without making decisions." Today, you made a decision to listen, to reflect, to breathe, to begin. And that decision, that's enough. That's where everything changes. You don't need to do everything today. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to commit to one small act of alignment, one act of integrity, one quiet moment of remembering you are not broken, you are becoming. So let's make this commitment real. In the comments, write just one sentence. I choose inner strength. Say it out loud, write it down, whisper it again. Because resilience isn't built in noise, it's built in whispers repeated often. Let today be that first whisper, that soft, strong moment when you stopped trying to survive the storm and started learning how to stand in it. From here forward, may every breath become an act of self-respect. May every pause become power. And may your resilience not be something you chase, but something you remember. You're not alone. You're not too late. And you're not behind. You're right on time. Let's begin.